Today on Animator Talk, we're discussing a cartoon series starring a mild-mannered citizen by day and a disguised crime fighter at night. No, we're not talking about that Cape Crusader. We're discussing the history of Darkwing Duck. Coming up. Darkwing Duck! Hello there, animation fans. Welcome to Animator Talk, where we discuss the art of animation and its contribution to entertainment of yesterday, today, and into the future. Transitioning from the 1980s to 1990s, the Walt Disney Television animation crew were looking for a new series to add to their Disney afternoon lineup. But what kind of cartoon show would fit in with adventurous ducks, a goofy father, and a couple of crime-fighting chipmunks? Originally, writers felt they could revitalize the old Rocky and Bullwinkle cartoon show. Disney held the home video distribution rights to those characters. But once the team discovered they didn't own the characters outright, they scrapped all of those plans and went back to the drawing board. You see, by that time, DuckTales had ended its production roughly a year prior. A studio favorite episode titled 00 Duck was a James Bond-inspired episode starring Launchpad McQuack. It was felt they could do an entire spin-off series with Launchpad in the lead. Tad Stones was a writer and producer at the studio at the time and was asked to devise a series based on this concept. Tad had a whole lot of trouble creating a series around Launchpad. You see, Launchpad is a secondary character at best. He was good to bounce ideas off of and for the occasional one-liner, but he wasn't a leading man. They would have other troubles too, especially the whole 00 part, which was trademarked by the Broccoli family, who holds all of James Bond's copyrights. Instead, Tad had to come up with another idea.
This bit of feathery intrigue is best investigated by Darkwing Duck.
Telling of mystery, chippy and right, swoops out of the shadows.
Enter another duck.
I have you right where I want you.
He's brash, he's daring, he's adventurous, he's
alone with me, Darkwing Duck.
Egotistical as hell. Written as a narcissistic bachelor who would run around the city as a vigilante, this pilot begins with this diminutive duck in a purple coat and fedora, cape billowing in the wind. He ties up a couple criminals and delivers them to the city's police department.
Another order of dastardly delinquents deposited on your doorstep, courtesy of Darkwing Duck. That's 2 words, not 3, both these capitalized. Here's my photo. If the papers need more glossies, my number's on the card.
Just then, he stops to pose for the media. And just like that, we get Darkwing Duck's plight in a nutshell. Breaking the fourth wall, as they would do a ton during the entire series, he complains to us, the audience, that he feels underappreciated.
So where's the press? I thought this was the age of media glut. Where's the action news van when you need them?
Now, sure, on a surface level, Darkwing Duck looks like a cross between Batman and the Shadow. Wearing a double-breasted coat, an exaggerated fedora and cape, traveling around the city in a souped-up motorcycle, or flying overhead in a very stylized aircraft. It's clear to see the heavy influence of Tim Burton's Batman movie. But infuse that with a little lighthearted comedy, and they were really onto something. Alan Burnett of Batman the Animated Series fame came up with the name Darkwing. Toby Shelton came up with the final character designs. He based the designs off of an original concept sketch that Tad Stones had handed him of a duck wearing a fedora and trench coat in the likeness of his favorite comic book character, the Shadow. Just like Batman had a sidekick in Robin, Darkwing was going to require a sidekick as well.
I don't even have a friend to ask for help.
Oh, that's reverse. I thought it was Park.
Ted looked no further than Launchpad McQuack, fresh off the now completed DuckTales series. Launchpad was redesigned to be taller and more muscular for this show. He was a better pilot, too, as the constant crashing of aircraft wouldn't work so well in this series. In this backstory, he followed the legend of Darkwing Duck through newspaper clippings and media. And being a Darkwing fanboy, he modified an aircraft in Darkwing Duck's likeness. Convenient. If they hadn't met, would he have been flying around town in that? It didn't look FAA compliant, whatever it was.
I told you I was your biggest fan. I've been working on it for a year. I call it the Thunder Quack.
Voiced by the voiceover genius Jim Cummings, Drake Mallard, aka Darkwing Duck, was always quick with his comedic one-liners. Its faithful sidekick Launchpad McQuack was voiced by Terry McGovern. Of course, no Disney animated series would be complete without adding a young child to the cast. Cartoon shows of this era find that children will be more invested in the story if they feel they have someone they can relate to. So every show has a child in the series to draw the kids to the story. Enter Goslyn Vanderbeek, a lonely orphan in the pilot episode. She would end up being adopted by Drake by the climax. This spunky little girl would prove intelligent, but would also find herself too close to the action and either getting in the way of crime fighting or getting taken by the villain of the week. Like any good superhero, we need a rogues gallery. What the Joker is to Batman, QuackerJack is to Darkwing.
I'm QuackerJack. You are Darkwing Duck.
A former toy maker who becomes clinically insane once the video game market eliminates the toy market. Megavolt was always my favorite, voiced by Dan Castellaneta.
Need to carry huge loads of power for days without recharging.
A deranged rat who would gain the ability to control electrical currents after a mishap involving a science project as a kid. The electricity would affect him negatively and would cause him to go insane.
I love the smell of voltage in the evening.
He would have some easier villains to defeat, such as Bushroot or the Liquidator. But for all those lighter fare, you need your big bad. Taurus Bulba and Steelbeak brought in the crime syndicate type villain. But Darkwing's biggest nemesis was his alter ego NegaDuck.
Get over here.
NegaDuck would be his antithesis in a doppelganger. He wouldn't have any special superpowers or superhuman abilities. However, he was smart and cunning, and being a complete, perfect look-alike, he could pose as Darkwing Duck with the correct costume, making him a super threat. Being an afternoon cartoon show, things never got too serious. The crimes were usually pretty campy, and other one-liner jokes at times corny, but usually written in very clever ways. The puns were very rarely eye-rolling inducing, and the comedy was such that adults would often chuckle in the background.
Are you crazy? Maybe a little manic depressive on weekends, but I'm sane enough to know a couple of heroes like us can overcome the likes of Fowl. Launchpad, let's get dangerous.
Oh hey, did you know?
Check it out.
One episode in the series run was banned after one airing. In an episode called Hot Spell, Gosling would attempt to gain magical powers. In order to get these powers, she sold Darkwing's soul to the devil. Well, as you can imagine, this angered parental groups, causing huge letter-writing campaigns and some real bad publicity. ABC decided never to re-air this episode. The color palette for NegaDuck's costume was chosen for two reasons. One, it's a perfect homage to the Reverse Flash in the Flash series, where instead of wearing red, the Reverse Flash wears yellow. But the other reason for his yellow jacket is NegaDuck's persona being the opposite of our hero. Yellow is on the opposite side of the color wheel from purple. The character of Darkwing Duck has been said to be Jim Cummings' favorite character to voice. He's expressed as much as this role offered him plenty of room for comedic ad-libs during all of those recording sessions. He has remained quite nostalgic for this character ever since. Darkwing Duck merchandising was very underwhelming for a show like this. A short-lived action figure series, complete with vehicles, they were not well advertised. It would end up mere peg warmers in the toy aisles. Not until the nostalgia-starved adults of today would be begging for t-shirts and coffee mugs. Before, no one was collecting Darkwing merchandise. Walt Disney Television Animation closed the books on the Darkwing series in '92, after only 91 episodes. Where most animated shows would run from 64 to 65 episodes, once Darkwing aired on ABC Television for Saturday morning's lineup, ABC enjoyed it so much they ordered a third season. When their ratings proved high, they ordered additional episodes. Walt Disney Home Video would release 4 videotapes containing 2 episodes each back in 1992. Then, years later, they released 2 box sets of Darkwing Duck DVDs in 2006 and 2007. They released a mere 25 episodes per box set. Fortunately, we would end up getting access to the complete animated series through Disney Plus subscription. The Disney Channel, while in the middle of production on their DuckTales reboot, attempted a new version of Darkwing Duck. It was intended as a one-off for a single episode, and then took on a life of its own, leading to talks of a rebooted series.
Daring duck of mystery, champion of light, swoops down from the shadows, Darkwing owns the night.
In a world where Hollywood is scared to death that they've run out of good original ideas, we're seeing this evidence all over with reboot after reboot. The retelling of the same stories and at times complete overhauls of old concepts to meet today's audience. I don't think they should or would be able to make Darkwing the same way today, nor should they have to. The old episodes of this original series stand up the test of time to today's audience's demand just fine. Instead of rebooting this series for a new audience, we should just go back and enjoy the original episodes. Like I said, they stand up just fine. You know, all this talk has me itching to watch an episode, so I'll see you in St. Canard. Until next time, you keep moving forward. And
Let's get